What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back once again with the Mariners post-game recap. We're going to get into all of it. 8 in a row again. The second time this month the team's on an 8-game winning streak. I don't know if that's ever even happened in baseball. Mariners defeat the White Sox 6-3. I'm going to break it all down for you guys. Before I get started, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. These videos continue to get a ton of views, at least by my standards. So if you guys can, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you're new, I'm on the road to 2,500 subs, so it just helps out my channel a whole lot. Memberships are also available. If you go over to the join button on my channel page, you can learn more about the memberships as well. Mariners win this one 6-3 tonight. Just going to pull up the box score real quick. Listen, I didn't think they played all that well tonight. I'm probably sounding really selfish there, or not selfish, but spoiled, because they just won a game pretty easily. But again, like it just seemed kind of like a meh game. Part of that might be the White Sox, or just that team looks like they've mailed it in. You know, playing the Royals last week, I'll say this for the Royals, and maybe just the fact that the games are closer, and that's just how I'm viewing it. But that team felt like they played pretty hard. Like, that didn't look like a team that mailed it in. They were still giving it their all, still fighting. The offense was still battling, the pitchers as well. Man, the White Sox just kind of looked like they could not be ready to hit the offseason any quicker. Again, it's easy to say because the Mariners have outscored them by 15 runs in this series. But that's certainly what it kind of looks like from the outside. So the Mariners improved to 71-55. Texas is currently losing 5-0. There's a very good chance in about an hour this team is a game out of first place in the American League West. Some of the other teams won. Toronto won. So you have a 1-game lead on them, which is essentially 2. And Houston won as well. Now, Houston winning isn't great. I will say you're kind of eliminating Boston with Houston winning, so it's not the worst thing in the world that the Astros are getting some W's. It at least makes that wild card field a little bit shorter. I just, with this team, I'm like I said, like I'm running out of kind of like what to dive into with this team a little bit. I mean, 71-55. They're like 35-13 in their last 48. I mean, it's just been absolutely insane. Let's get into all of it. Let's start with the pitching. We'll get into the hitting. We'll go from there. Brian Woo's first game back in a few weeks. Thought the first inning he looked a little like someone that hadn't pitched in a few weeks. Had a little trouble finding the strike zone. Settled in. Ended up pitching really well. 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 3 Ks. The goal was to get 4 innings out of Woo. Threw 65 pitches. Thought maybe you could have tried to squeeze 1 more out of him. But they came in with the idea of him pitching 4 innings, and they got that done, and he did a real nice job. Brian Woo, if this team gets to the playoffs, I think Brian Woo is going to be an outstanding weapon out of the bullpen against righties, as someone that can maybe even go multiple innings. I do worry about him starting. He struggled against left-handed hitters, and a team could just stack a lineup of lefties potentially against him. I know if you look like the Baseball Savant page, his is much better than Bryce Miller's and stuff like that. It's just more of a gut feel. I do feel a little more confident with Miller, but I think Woo would be a great weapon out of the bullpen come playoff time if the team is fortunate enough to get there. Nice job by Taylor Saucedo to get a couple outs. Unfortunately, he did give up a bit of a bloop hit, so he's only able to go 2/3 of an inning versus the whole 5th inning. But nice job for him. Good bounce back for Sauce. Trent Thornton came in and got Luis Robert on a funny play, or not funny at-bat sort of in the 5th inning. It was 4-1. Robert was on with 1 on and 2 outs. Hit what looked to be a home run. Well, it looked a little foul, but there was some confusion on what the umps called, fair or foul. The fireworks went off thinking it was a home run. Turns out it was a foul ball on that one, and then Thornton ended up walking Robert and getting Eloy Jimenez to, I think, fly out to right field. I know some people are kind of getting on Trent Thornton there because he did hang one to Robert. At least Robert is really good. He also threw, if you go back and watch that at-bat, the 3 pitches before Robert just missed a home run were just ridiculously good slurs that Robert just spit on. I mean, you couldn't throw pitches better. It actually made me worried that a home run was going to happen, because I'm like, I don't think Thornton can throw 3 pitches better than that the rest of this at-bat. So I was kind of waiting for something like that to happen. Luckily, it just ended up being a walk. Isaiah Campbell went inning in 2/3. Did give up 4 hits. A couple of them I thought were just kind of seeing eye singles. Did give up a run, but they ended up getting a double play when that run scored. So you're fine with it. Campbell did a nice job to get almost 2 innings for the team. Topa did a real nice job. Man, has Justin Topa just been locked down. He came up, was really good. He had when the season began, he was really good. He went through a little bit of a hiccup where he wasn't quite as effective in the middle of the year, and now he has just been absolutely lights out. He actually got the win. They gave it to Topa, interesting enough. This is kind of one of those tough ones because Wu only went 4 innings. So it's kind of up to the official score on who gets the wins in games like this. So they gave it to Justin Topa. I think that's fair. I don't put a lot of stock into wins losses for pitchers, but I'm always happy for a pitcher when they get a win. So Topa was fantastic. Yeah, Gabe Spire was fine. I mean, he came in 2 strikeouts right away in the 9th inning with a 4-run lead. The 9th inning was a little stressful. Spire got the first 2 outs. He got strikeouts of Colas and Sosa. Benintendi went deep. Benintendi has 3 home runs this year, 2 of them against the Mariners. That's fun. And then Moncada blooped one in there. With Robert Jimenez coming up, Scott made the right decision, went to Andres Munoz there. Don't mess around. Don't let the tying run come up. And Munoz disposed of Robert very quickly. Munoz going all fastballs. Now, he's throwing more of a sinker fastball, if you've noticed. It's not just a straight fastball. It's got some movement on it. But he hasn't thrown that slider in a while. I want to say since the Kansas City game, I haven't seen the slider. I'd have to go back and really watch, but he definitely didn't throw one tonight. But that sinker looks pretty good. And it was good to see a strikeout as well. So he got Robert swinging there to end the game. You know, in games like this, that 9th inning probably felt more nervous, and I'll tell you why. When your team's won a lot in a row, you're always kind of waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, what's going to be the game? You know, listen, we can all be eternal optimists sometimes, but we all have a little pessimism in us as well, especially with the Mariners team that through the years has given us lots of reasons to be pessimistic as fans. That 9th inning got me a little nervous. I'm like, oh gosh, this is how the winning streak's going to end. It's going to be some ridiculous 2-out magic, you know, in Chicago here. So it was nice to see. And then you got Robert Jimenez coming up. So it was nice to see Munoz come in and just shut the door there and get the save, his 8th, and get this team a W. Thought the pitching did well tonight. Thought did a good job. Good to see Brian Wu back on the mound. Glad in this game they limited him a little bit. Listen, you got George Kirby going tomorrow. Then you've got an off day. And you actually, I think, have another off day next week as well on Thursday. So you've got a couple off days coming up here to kind of reset some things. So I thought it was okay with the bullpen day. Campbell's probably down tomorrow. Maybe Topa. But Topa only threw 11 pitches, so he's probably not down. Munoz only threw 4. Spire, 23, maybe down. I would say Campbell for sure, and then maybe Spire. Everybody else is 100% good to go in the game tomorrow. So the pitching staff did its job for sure. Going on to the offense, second straight day, no Julio. Yesterday was a day off. Today it sounded like a little bit of a stomach virus for Julio or something. Obviously hope he's okay. I will say, while I'm sure Julio, as you know, we've all been there with a stomach flu or something, it's agony, but much better a stomach flu than an injury of some kind. You know, the stomach flu shall pass, or the bug or whatever. Injuries can linger. So while I'm sure Julio's sitting there going, no, I'd rather sprain an ankle than be puking and sitting on the bathroom all day. But obviously long term, that's a much better news. I would give Julio the day off tomorrow too. You've got the series wrapped up. Doesn't mean you don't want the sweep. I'm not saying that. But they've got this series wrapped up. You have a day off on Thursday. It gives Julio 2 extra days of rest. Let him rest it up. Let him feel healthy. Let him stay at the hotel tomorrow. And if he's got to puke, he's got to puke. It's going to be 103 out there in a humid, sweaty Chicago afternoon. I've spent a lot of time in Chicago. And let me tell you, someone that lives in Arizona, give me Arizona dry heat over Midwest humidity any day of the week. Any day of the week. So let Julio stay, unless he just wakes up and he's like 100% good to go. Let him stay there. Let him get the day off. That essentially gives him 4 days off in a row. You've got the series won. Not that you don't want to win, and it's not what I'm saying at all, but I think you give Julio tomorrow off as well. That's what I would do, unless, like I said, he's just 100% better. J.P. Crawford was 1 for 4 today with an RBI and a walk. Man, it's going to be good to have Julio back in the lineup here soon with J.P. coming back at the top of the lineup. I think that's going to be really, really fun to see those two, especially with how hot Julio's been. Seeing Julio and JP 1-2 is going to be great. JP had that RBI single, walked. He actually hit a ball on the screws. I don't remember what inning it was. It was to center field. Robert tracked it down. So I will say JP's timing looks a little off. The plate discipline's still there, but just the contact, not surprised. It's going to happen. You miss 9 games. It'd probably take a little bit. Good series to get him back in here. Gino was 1 for 3 with a couple walks, so Gino on base 3 times today. Ty France was 1 for 3 with an RBI and a walk. Normally I'd be like really with that Ty France RBI single because it looked like it should have been an error on Moncada, but it was changed to a single and an RBI. That was in the 6th inning. But man, Ty also hit a ball on the screws in the 1st inning that I thought was going to get out. It stayed in the yard. Ty is hitting some tough luck the last few games. He deserves that to be a hit. Good for Ty. Cal was 0 for 3 with an RBI and a walk. Had a walk and a sac fly. Teo was 2 for 5 with a couple singles. The Mariners did have a bases loaded, nobody out situation, I think in the 5th, where they didn't score. That's what I'm saying. They didn't play their best game, and Teo was one of the guys up in that situation. Rough game for Cade Marlowe, 0 for 5. His OPS is down to 766. You know, Cade Marlowe's been great, filled in for Kelenic great. I think we're seeing that, you know, he wasn't going to keep OPSing 890 all season. I think he can be a useful player, a useful platoon 4th outfielder, absolutely. But it'll be nice to have Julio back in there. Canzone was 1 for 4. He was also robbed of a base hit by Elvis Andrus. Nice game by Mike Ford. He was 2 for 2 with an RBI single. He walked and was hit by a pitch. So the F350 on base 4 times. Been a nice little hot streak for Mike Ford. Listen, they could use it. It seemed like for a while there, Ford is kind of maybe being close to being DFA'd. I think they've stuck with him just because of that pop a little bit, and he can get on base. Not the worst guy to have come up in the 9th inning with 2 outs, nobody on, maybe runs into one. Good to see Mike Ford get hot. You can have value in guys like that, especially coming off the bench. Caballero pinch ran for him. And then Josh Rojas, 1 for 4, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, and a home run, his 2nd of the year, his 2nd as a Mariner. Opened up that 2-run lead in the 4th inning with that 2-run home run. Was really good to see because with 2 outs, Ford walked, and then Rojas homered. Nice to see that production from the bottom of the lineup. And that's really what this lineup has done. It is really top to bottom. Everybody's contributed here at some point. I mean, obviously Julio was carrying it for a while, but they've just gone 2 games without Julio, and they've outscored their opponents 20-5 in 2 games. I know Chicago's not good, but even, you know, they're not minus 15 run differential over 2 games bad. Like nobody's bad where their average loss is 7.5 runs. So, I mean, the Mariners are still taking it to them. It kind of like I said, kind of a weird game. I didn't feel like they played all that well necessarily. And that's probably not fair. I mean, they put up 6 runs again. I think because, you know, you had the 2 runs in the 2nd inning, which were a JP Bloop single. Ford got the single, so it wasn't anything crazy. You did have the Rojas home run, but that came with a 2-out rally. Then the runs in the 6th were on what could have been a double play on a Ty France grounder that Moncada kind of booted. And then a sac fly that wasn't even super deep from Cal Raleigh. So it didn't feel like this, you know, crazy offensive output. But, I mean, that's how good this team is playing. They just scored 6 runs, 9 hits, 6 walks, 15 base runners, and I'm like, you know, they were okay. Like, that's how good this team is playing right now. So if that's your version of mid, then sign me up. Sign me up for some more mid the rest of the way. So, like I said, kind of just, it's 8 in a row. I mean, 2 8-game, I think I've said this 4 times now, but 2 8-game winning streaks in a month. And I'll say it, they were not far off in those 3 losses. I mean, this is not far off from a 19-game winning streak. They won some close games against Kansas City. They won a close one against Houston. Jay, if you're going to count the close losses, you got to look at the close wins as well. I'm just saying for Mariners fans' sake, for our sake, that it really hasn't been far off. I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again for everybody watching. The 3 games they've lost over this 16-3 stretch were a game where they had the lead of the 9th inning in Kansas City, a game where they had the lead in the top of the 6th, and then they went into extra innings. That was a Sunday game against Baltimore. And a game where their starting pitcher, George Kirby, pitched 9 shutout innings. Those are the 3 games they've lost over this stretch. By the way, Arizona 6-1 over Texas bottom 6. I won't be with you guys for that whole game, but I'll try to keep you posted. George Kirby goes tomorrow. Supposed to be a hot one out there in Chicago, so drink your water, drink your Gatorades, and be ready. Michael Kopech going for the White Sox. Thank you. A couple people corrected me. I said Dylan Cease yesterday. It's Michael Kopech. And boy, I thought Kopech's numbers were going to be okay because ZRA is over 5, but he's always kind of struck me as a guy with good stuff. So I went on Fangraphs to check out his, more of the advanced metrics on him. Ooh, they are rough. 6.59 FIP. Let me just confirm that. I just want to make sure I wasn't looking at like the wrong thing or something, But let me... Come on, pop up. Where are you, Michael? Am I spelling it right? Now it's going to take me 10 minutes to find him here. Where on earth is he? Oh, there he is. Okay. Michael Kopech. Just want to make sure. Yeah, he's been worth almost negative one run below replacement level for FWAR. XFIP of 5.61, expected ERA 5.87, FIP of 6.59. He's actually running like a fairly low BABIP of 243, so he's actually been lucky. He's walking 5.9 batters per 9 innings. He has like 78 walks. Just the absolute opposite of George Kirby, who has 14 walks on the season. And just to give you a note of some of those numbers, because if you're wondering, well, what's George Kirby look like? I'll just go over it real quick. George Kirby, XFIP of 3.61. He's been worth 3.7 WAR, so almost 5 wins better than Kopech. 3.24 FIP, 3.79 expected ERA. Kirby's walks per 9 is 0.84, just to give you a little bit. Kopech can strike out some guys. He does have some okay strikeout numbers, but I was a little surprised. I expected him to be like one of the guys that was maybe getting a little unlucky, but if anything, he's actually been lucky. I want to point out, too, I don't understand how Mike Clevenger's delivery is not like a balk on every pitch. Don't need to explain it to me if you know why. I'm sure it's not. But every time, if you watch his delivery, not out of the stretch, but out of the windup, his foot moves forward. It's back and forth. Like Luis Garcia from the Astros does it, but he's side to side. So I see where that's not a balk. But Clevenger is going... And I guess you can't balk with nobody. But it just, man, it looks like it should be something illegal. And it's super, like, annoying to watch just because, just the way it's all herky-jerky. It's just, I would be frustrated as a hitter having to face that. But they did a good job against Clevenger. I talked about yesterday that his ERA was a little bit better than his advanced metrics. They did a decent job. He went 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 4 walks, 4 Ks. They had a chance to knock him out there in the 5th inning. That would have been nice to maybe get it to 5 or 6 runs. But, they did their job. They got him out of there. Brian Shaw was really rough. Former Mariner. He went an inning and just couldn't throw strikes at all. And like I said, that's probably why it doesn't feel like as amazing as a win, because a lot of it was kind of self-inflicted by the White Sox, but the Mariners took advantage of that. They did what you're supposed to do. So, just the train keeps rolling. The train absolutely keeps rolling here for the Mariners. So a great win. 16 games above 500, like I said, which is just crazy, and a very good chance they're just a game back of the Rangers at the end of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. First, I want to give a quick shout out to my first 5 members that have signed up. Thank you, guys. Mr. Moses, that's how I know you by, so that's where I go with Moses. William Cook, thank you. Hannah, I can never pronounce your name on there, so maybe that will be one of our memberships things, is learning how to pronounce it. So Hannah, Chris, as well, and then Gunny Studios. Thank you guys for signing up for the memberships. Guys, if you're interested, go check out some pretty cool stuff. I got a video that'll explain all of it too. Hit like, hit comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow. Postgame will be a little bit later tomorrow because I got to work. It's 11 a.m. game, so expect the postgame more late afternoonish, but I'll be here with it. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and as always, how fun is this? How fun is this right now with this team? Man, on Cloud 9. I feel like I did this video, I was kind of like underselling it. Like, they just won 8 in a row. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm almost running out of positivity because I'm just like, yeah, they keep doing it. So have a great night, everybody. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.